Hi, everyone. For my discussion post on world building this week, I wanted to showcase this scene in The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. This happens very early in the game. You come to Red Creek Valley. You're told that your playing character is a detective named Paul Prospero, who has been invited, begged even, to come to this area to look for this little boy, Ethan Carter. He had been getting fan mail, quote unquote, from Ethan that became increasingly desperate and begging for help. So he has come to Red Creek Valley to look for the missing Ethan. Like I said, this happens very early on. You just get into the valley, you just cross the bridge, and you are met with this scene where you find severed legs, you find part of a corpse, you find a bunch of clues as to what happened here. Obviously something terrible, but it's your job to figure out what happened here and what it has to do with Ethan. Amy Green says in Storytelling in Video Games, and I wanted to highlight this quote because I think that this is a good example of what she's talking about. On page 40, she talks about the difference between how setting and world building functions in literature or video games, or literature or film, and how it functions in video games. She says on page 40, the video game proves different and that the player is often, and in the cases of games focused on storytelling, nearly always, asked to explore the environment comprehensively as he or she uncovers or experiences the story. This means the player becomes the eye of the camera, able to explore and focus on details that a director may choose to ignore or show only in passing. If the player finds something interesting in those buildings over there, or in this person standing here, he or she usually has full freedom to move to that location and observe. While the visual rendering of the game's world lies in the purview of the game's developers, the player has agency over how to experience it. So here's the collaboration that goes on in the world building between the game designer and the game player. The designer gets to create the landscape, put the details and objects in it, and even gets to wall it off in certain ways. But in terms of how the player moves through that space, that's the player's agency going on. And in the way that the player interacts with the world and moves through the space, the player ends up having a good deal of agency over how to piece together the story of the game. And in The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, you're invited to do explicitly that. Like, that ends up being your job. You come across areas like this, and as you move through it, as you look at certain details, you can interact with them and start piecing together what happened in that particular space. You can start reading the landscape here. Once you cross the bridge over there, you come to these ropes. If you walk a little further, you come across severed legs and a trail of blood that leads you to a partial corpse down here. You can keep walking down this little dirt path to the lake, where you will find the crank that helps you go back to the bridge, start up the rail car, and drive it back here. You can do that, or you can keep walking down this railway track, where you will find the gas canister. You'll find a blood-stained rock. And eventually you will find a pile of rocks with a little dent in it where that bloodstained rock fits. And once you find all of these clues, then it is your job to visualize what happened here and create a chronology of the narrative of this space and this event using the clues that you've been given. So at this point, we have found all the clues, and our playing character, is able to start visualizing what might have happened here and what this has to do with Ethan. And now we need to piece together what order in which it happened. Like, how did this all unfold? I think that in the playthrough that I linked on Georgia View, the first act is tagged as that down there. The grandfather picks up the rock. There are a couple of different ways that you can piece together the chronology here, depending on what you think happened and why. If you think that the grandfather came in intending to attack Travis, then you would tag this first. We're going to go in a different direction. I don't think that the grandfather came in intending to attack Travis. I think he made that decision once he came on the scene and saw what Travis had done to Ethan. So, Travis tying Ethan to the train tracks, we're going to tag that as number 1. This is the first thing that happened. That was the thing that started it all. Now, this could be number 2, but as we can see here, the grandfather already has the rock. The grandfather came prepared. We don't think the grandfather is stupid, so we'll tag this as number 2. Grandfather comes, he sees what's going on, he gets a rock. Just in case he needs to do something. Up here, he confronts Travis, who's about to start up this rail car. Then he smacked Travis with the rock or something. Travis staggers over here. And this is where he gets run over by the rail car. And his legs are severed. And then he starts crawling down the path. Ethan has managed to free himself. And the grandfather follows Travis down the path with the crank. This is where the grandfather finally kills Travis with that crank. So, here we go. We've got our chronology. Let's visualize.
Listen to me. We can destroy it. I know how.
That's it.
You can't destroy it, Ethan. You can't destroy time. And that's what he is. He is forever.
Who is he?
Gail, honey, I wish there was another way. Travis, tell me where Ethan is, now.
I'm giving the sleeper what he wants. What all of us want. Look, old man, you need to go home.
Who is the sleeper?
Ethan, run, goddammit. Go! Get out of here! Travis, close your eyes.
And there we go. Here's our visualization of what played out. Right here. And what it may have to do with Ethan and his disappearance. So, right off the bat, like within 20 minutes of getting into the game, we come across this space where it serves three purposes. First, it sets sort of the tone of the game and introduces us to some elements of the plot that we're going to be getting into further on. This mysterious talk about the sleeper, why he wants Ethan, why it's apparently driven the other members of his family crazy, the creepiness of it all, the lack of clarity as to whether this family's just dysfunctional and nuts or whether there's something like seriously supernatural going on here. That's still a mystery. So we're introduced to all of that in the very beginning here. We're also introduced to what we are going to be doing and what our role in this game is. We are going to be piecing this together ourselves, using the clues that we come across in the game. Right when you start up the game, it tells you this game will not hold your hand. And this is an example of that. It is up to you as the player to move through the space, find the clues, and really pay attention and piece these clues together accordingly to read and interpret the space correctly so that it can lead us to Ethan. And the third thing that I wanted to point out, sort of as a way of setting us up for next week as well, is this really helps us get immersed in our character. Our character is a seasoned detective who has seen a lot of stuff in his life over the dozens or hundreds of cases that he has investigated. Nothing quite like this, though. So this helps us really get a better sense of who our character is. He's very good at doing this sort of thing. He is good at finding clues, seeing things that other people may not see, and piecing them together to really visualize what happened in a space. This is what he has spent his career doing. And now he is in a case that is much different from anything he has ever experienced before. So, that is my walkthrough of what I consider a really great example of world building. Thank you for watching, everybody.